Okay, so my presentation is going to be on elections in Ireland. I'm going to be talking about electing the lower house, the upper house, and how they're put into power, how the president is put into power, and a little bit about money in the presidential elections in Ireland. So just to recap, Ireland is run by a parliament. The government is run by a president and two houses within the parliament. There are two houses in the legislature, the lower house and the upper house. The president is the head of state and appoints a head of government. Election basics. A general election can be held within the 30 days that the lower house dissolves. The lower house cannot be in power for longer than 5 years, but normally the head of government recommends that it's dissolved sooner than the 5-year term. The president is elected every 7 years and has a 2-term limit. After the lower house is dissolved, the upper house is elected within 90 days. The upper house is not directly elected like the lower house, but are elected through various nominations and appointments within government. The head of government is nominated by the lower house and appointed by the president. So when it comes to electing the lower house, who can vote? Citizens of Ireland and the UK can vote in the lower house elections, and you have to be 18 years of age. Who can run? To run in the lower house elections, only Irish citizens can run, and they must be at least 21 years of age. When voting for the lower house, you may only vote once, and it's done in secret and in a public building like a school or a government building. The voting process is a little tricky, and it's a lot different from the voting process that we have here in America. They use a single transferable vote system where they basically rank the candidate that they want to win in order of preference. So the candidate that they'd most want to win, they put a number 1 by their name, and their second favorite they'd put a 2, and etc., etc. So if the candidate that they picked first doesn't really have a good chance of winning or doesn't need their vote to win, the vote goes on to their second choice. When you come in to vote, you get a ballot paper which has your information on it and marks your political party. Votes are counted at 9 a.m. the next day, and there's a quota that needs to be reached, and they have a formula. If nobody reaches the quota, the fewest amount of votes is eliminated, and their votes go to the voters' second choices. The upper house. Now, the upper house is not directly elected by the people, but they are elected through various nominations. Eleven members are appointed by the head of government, 6 by graduates from the 2 universities, which are the University of Dublin and the National University of Ireland. 43 are elected from 5 special panels of nominees. They're also called vocational. The panels that help elect the upper house: administrative panel, the agricultural panel, cultural and educational panel, industrial and commercial panel, and the labor panel. In the Constitution of Ireland, the general election for the upper house has to occur no later than 90 days after the dissolution of the lower house. And they also use a single transferable vote system. Electing the president. The president is elected every 7 years with a max of 2 terms. Any Irish citizen 35 years and older can run for the office of president, and a possible candidate has to be nominated by at least 4 of 34 city or council members, at least 20 or of 226 members of parliament, or they can nominate themselves if they are an incumbent or a former president who has served 1 term. If only one candidate is nominated, then a ballot is unnecessary, and that has happened before. So, money in presidential elections. The presidential election has spending limits. It is now £750,000, but the candidate can be reimbursed by the state for £200,000, which is almost kind of similar to how there's a public funding available for running for president in America. There's also donation limits for the presidential candidate, and they separate them from direct donations from a single person and third-party donations. So final notes is a little hard to read, but basically it's talking about how there are also European elections that they can vote in and local elections, just like we have here, where you can run for city council or a mayor's office or whatever. With these elections, the citizenship rule is different, and to vote in European elections and local elections, you don't have to be an Irish citizen, and you don't have to be just a British citizen. You can be a citizen of the EU. And in Ireland, they also have by-elections, which are elections that are held when a seat opens up within the lower house. By-elections usually happen when someone dies or is not fit for office or something like that. And they can also happen for other houses, or the upper house, but also for president too. And that's it.